Okay, so in this video, I'm working on getting Eli connected to my outside rein. I have a pretty bad habit of being fidgety with my hands and focusing on using too much inside rein, which makes it nearly impossible to connect him to the outside rein. And so you'll notice, even in that transition, I kind of have a little bit of flop to my inside rein. That's because I'm trying really hard not to pull on it too much. So I'm either pushing it forward or giving too much rein. So that's why it's floppy for now. And I am trying to keep my left elbow back along my rib cage. That's kind of the biggest thing that I'm working on right now as I'm riding along. He is also kind of dead to my leg, so you'll see my leg is kind of working overtime right now, but that's another video for another day of how I'm gonna overcome that obstacle. I'm doing a pretty good job of trying to keep my hands quiet while opening and closing my elbows, but you'll see as the movie progresses, I start to get more and more stiff in the whole effort of trying to keep my elbows back. And you'll see I'm going to do a canter transition soon. In that canter transition, what's going to happen is I'm going to literally forget how to ride and throw my hands forward and totally throw away all of the contact that I'm trying to get. And that's why his head comes up. So he'll kind of get a little bit rushy and his head's going to go up. Yep. And that's why we are struggling with this. So I need to shorten my reins and keep my elbows back and not throw that contact away. That was a little bit better, but he still threw his head up and came up against my hand. And that's mostly just because we're not really at the point in our riding yet where I can just have the contact and be there and be soft and staying with him. It's kind of still unsteady and intermittent. So I'm going to try it again, maybe? No, I decided to change directions, I think. No, not yet. So yeah, my reins really need to be a lot shorter. My shoulders need to come back. My head needs to come back over my shoulders. Because what's happening is I'm kind of adding to the weight on his front end, which is not necessary. Now I'm changing direction, so I'm using more right rein. I started to look over to the left. I kept my right elbow back, and I pushed him around with my right leg to kind of help him around that turn. And now this direction's harder for me. My right elbow really likes to creep forward, so you'll kind of see how obvious it is later on throughout this video. Like right there, you'll see it's more in front than my left hand, which is not good. Yeah, gotta bring those elbows back. Because the whole point is he's trying to reach for the contact, and if it's not steady, then he's kind of like, do I go on the bit? Do I not go on the bit? And that's why he's just never really solidly round, because he doesn't have that to go to. It's a little bit good. Yeah, see that right arm's creeping forward. And also I'm trying to compensate by kind of curling my shoulders forward a little bit too, to kind of meet my elbow to my rib cage, because that's what my visual aid is, that I'm like trying to keep my elbow on my rib cage, but I'm also just kind of curling forward to get to my elbow, which is too far forward. So it's not really working when I do that. I'm going to try to do canter this direction, and it's going to be the same thing. He's going to kind of rush, throw his head up, because I throw the reins away. And it stinks, because it's like, because I want to do it so well, I get anxious about it. my timing's right, sort of. You ask when you sit in the trot, but there, see, it was like 1, 2, 3. So it worked out, but it should be on beat 1, not beat 3. Like, I sat for 3 beats and I got it on the 3rd beat. Part of it is he's just not sensitive to my aids anymore. And part of it is just I'm not keeping good timing with that. So you'll see like my left shoulder's back, but my right shoulder's forward. I'm kind of like twisting a little bit. I need to shorten those reins and bring my elbows back more. More. That way he lifts up his belly. See, there he's hiding behind the bit. He's like, oh, you want me to tuck my head down? Okay. But he's not truly on the bit because he isn't actually engaging his core and lifting up his belly and lifting and filling out his back. Because that's the whole point. This isn't about a headset. The whole point is I need him to fill the saddle. That's better, but he's still a little bit. When he does that, I kind of just push him more with my legs and say, get up in front of me. Don't duck down behind the bit. Yeah, that right arm really does not want to stay back. I need to ride with a crop behind my back, in front of my arms and behind my back. Some nice moments, but he also, even when I do ask correctly, he doesn't have the physical strength quite yet. So that's also why he can't hold it for very long. And that's okay. We'll get there. It's been a while since I've actually asked him to do this properly, so. Because it's so easy to be like, oh, his head's down and he's seems steady, but he's actually not. Yeah, there's that. So because he was on the forehand, he tripped. So that's why that happened. He acts like he's on the bit when really he's just on the forehand. And you'll notice that in my trot afterwards, when I get my trot after the canter, he kind of carries the energy over, but I have to work really hard at steady posting and kind of using my core to rock his weight back in the post so that he doesn't plow down on the forehand in the trot, because that's what he likes to do. Yeah, see there, he just doesn't want to. I used to think, oh, well, I'll just get the canter and then make him round, and it's that's not really how it works. And because I asked him from a crappy trot, I got a crappy canter. So see there, he kind of tries to go forward, but I have to say, no, stay with me. Don't just plow down in front and be heavy in the front. You see my right hand was so far forward in that. I just threw that away. Gosh. Yeah. It's so hard to break bad habits. He's such a patient horse with me. He really is. So anyway, I hope this was really helpful for those of you struggling with this same issue that I'm struggling with. And, yeah. Please like and subscribe. And also pay attention to this terrible downward transition where I just kind of drop him and tip forward. And then I'm like, I know it's bad and I don't care. And that's what's bad. I need to redo. I should have redone it. Whenever a transition's abrupt and on the forehand like that, I need to redo it. See? Ready? And go. Yeah, that was bad. All right. Until next time. Bye.